Trap Shaddolls have always been at the fringe of competitive play, seeing a few tops here and there, but finally, I think I have a build that may just push it to the next level. So what is up, guys? This is Tcg Sam here, and in today's video, I'm coming at you guys with a competitive Trap Shaddoll deck profile for the new February 2022 format. It's going to be the first of many deck profiles and test hand videos to come, so if you like that type of content, be sure to let me know by leaving a like, commenting, subscribing. But with that being said, let's just hop straight into it. So, starting off, we are playing Fairy Tale Snow. Fairy Tale Snow is a very powerful light target, just came off the ban list, and I believe it actually works pretty well in this deck because of its slower playstyle. Fairy Tale Snow adding an extra disruption as well. But the main reason we play Fairy Tale Snow is because we play Fairy Tale Luna. So for those of you who don't know what Fairy Tale Luna does, when it's normal summon, you can add one spellcaster with 1850 attack from your deck to your hand. So either a copy of Snow or itself, which is really strong. And as a quick effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls, and they either have to send a monster from their deck or extra deck to the grave to negate that effect. Otherwise, you bounce both that monster and itself back to the hand. So Fairy Tale Luna trades very well going second because you're getting a plus off of it, and you're trading with one of their interruptions, which is really strong. Turn one, it replaces itself and it acts as a kind of a compulsory evacuation device and gives you another resource back to fuse or to normal summon again next turn. I think Fairy Tale Luna is a very strong normal summon in the Trap Shaddoll deck just because it replenishes itself as a resource, and it adds a very powerful aspect going first or going second. And now you have access to a card like Snow. Snow can give you just that extra little bit of utility that you need. And these are the light monsters that we play. They replenish themselves, they act as this disruption. What more could you want? These are very strong light monsters, and they're good normal summons in the deck. So I explained that one a lot because it isn't really standard, but the rest of the Shaddoll lineup is pretty standard. Triple Reach Shaddoll Wendy. This is the best one you always want to be seeing. You want to dump a lot of these during the games to set your monsters because their flip effects will be very important in this deck. 2 copies of Shaddoll Squamata. I think 2 is more than enough. You don't want to play too many Shaddolls, because we are playing double Hedgehog already. 2 Hedgehog because you may need to set one to search a fusion spell. And that effect does come up because you are playing a little bit of a slower game. For the other utility Shaddolls, 1 Beast, 1 Falco, 1 Dragon, 1 Aerial. So Beast is pretty standard. Dragon's also pretty standard. I only play 1 Aerial. You can definitely just side in more if you feel like it's good in that matchup. Definitely think 1 in the main is more than enough. I don't want to play too many Shaddolls because you have other ways to access them from your deck with Sinister Shadow games. Falco, I think, is pretty important in this Trap Shaddoll build specifically, just because it gives you that extra layer of grind game. You're able to set itself, or when it's set off Wendy, you can bring back any of your other Shaddolls. So I think this is a perfect lineup. It's just the right amount of Shaddolls, not too little, not too many. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, I am playing Foolish Burial. This is the 39th, 40th card. So you guys can put whatever else you want here. I just thought Foolish was good because it can act as an additional, either a starter with Wendy. It can act like an MST with Dragon, Upstart Goblin with Beast. So I just feel like it was so versatile. It's just might as well play it. For the fusion spells, triple Super Poly, triple L, and triple Shaddoll Fusion. Let me explain Super Poly first. Super Poly, I think, is still pretty decent in this format. Going second against Sorcel, you can fuse away their Chi Xiao, which is really strong. And then your Construct trades very well with the Baronne de Fleur because, if you can chain block the Construct most likely, and then Construct just rams into Baronne when it dies. You can essentially just dump any spell or trap and you get add it back after their Baronne negates your effect to run it over. Super Poly is also a very powerful disruption card against so many decks, and we play more than just the Shaddoll monsters in the extra, so our Super Poly is going to be as live in a lot more matchups. It's a super powerful card. I definitely think if you're playing Shaddolls, you must be playing this. 3 L Shaddoll Fusion. This is honestly one of the best fusion spells. You can fusion on your opponent's turn. And then Shaddoll Fusion, I decided to play 3 instead of the 1 I was playing before. I think in this deck, you'll get into a simplified game state quite often, and having a Shaddoll Fusion can just honestly turn the tide in your favor so well. Shaddoll Fusion also kind of unbricks you with your hand like full of Shaddoll, so I think maxing out on the fusion spells is pretty important. Also, I should mention going second, you have Luna and Snow to like force out interruptions, so Shaddoll Fusion should resolve more often. And now the trap cards. I play 1 Rush, 1 Schism for the Shaddoll traps. 1 Schism standard. It's affordable now too, which is great. But Rush Shaddoll Incarnation, I think 1 is more than enough. I say this every time, but if I'm using the banish effect, I'm either pushing for game or I'm already in a dire situation anyways. I feel like 1 and 1 is enough. You don't want to brick on too many of these. You can always search them with like Construct or something. I play triple Sinister Shadow Games. This is the reason why I didn't want to play a super high Shaddoll count, is because Sinister Shadow Games essentially acts as that as those Shaddolls on your opponent's turn. It's like a starter on your opponent's turn. You can send Wendy set something, or you can send like an Ariel to act as a disruption. So I think triple Sinister Shadow Games is good. For the actual traps now, triple Torrential Tribute. I still believe that combo decks are going to be very strong this format. Even though Lyralist Tribringer got hit, I mean, this is pretty decent against like Sword Soul, especially if they worm lock themselves. They don't have a way to actually stop Torrential. Like, as long as you prevent them from getting to Yazi or Boxia to out your stuff, then Torrential just trades so well with like Chi Xiaos and stuff like that. You do gotta be aware though, like I said, they have a bunch of those effects that are kind of annoying, so like Chi Xiao, Changying, Boxia, Yazi. You just gotta watch out for some of those like effects that float, like the Yang Zings and whatever. But Torrential Tribute is just good against like every single combo deck. It trades well with your Shaddolls because your Shaddolls actually get good effects on the field. Or when they're destroyed, I mean, your Luna can dodge, return herself back to hand so you don't lose it. So Torrential Tribute is a really powerful card. This is supposed to be 3 copies of Solemn Strike. I apologize for the proxies, but I did leave it in my university dorm and I forgot to bring it with me back home. But yeah, triple Solemn Strike. This honestly just one of the best generic trap cards, especially paired with Torrential Tribute, breaks any combo board. But even against like slower matchups or not like mid-range decks, Strike is really good as well. Pretty standard staple trap. I played double Dogmatica Punishment. I particularly like this card in Trap Shaddolls. Even though it locks you out of your extra deck, it kind of gives you additional starters, because you can send a card like Apclone. Apclone can unclog your hand of the Shaddolls, and Apclone essentially can add you a Resh, an L, or Schism to play on your opponent's turn, like next opponent's turn anyway, so not being able to access the extra deck during your turn is not that big of a deal. And of course it outs like problematic monsters. Finally, double Paleozoic Deinonymiscus. You can actually make an argument to bump this up to 3 by cutting a copy of the Foolish Burial. Deinonymiscus just, I think, is going to be super good this format. It's always a very, very powerful card against every single deck, combo or control. Against combo decks, you can get rid of their combo pieces. Against control decks like Eldlik, you get rid of their Golden Lord, especially is huge. They can't really play if you get rid of their Golden Lords. You can get rid of Floodgates as well, and while triggering your Shaddoll effects, which is huge. You can see like all of these trap cards, aside from Strike, essentially all trigger your Shaddoll effects. They disrupt your opponent while giving you value off your Shaddoll effects, which is super, super important. Its other effect to come back from the grave when you activate Trap should also not be underestimated, because that gives you an extra body for a card like Cross Sheep, which is pretty important. So yeah, that's it. 40 cards for the main deck. Now for the extra deck, we play double Apclone. You definitely need at least 2, one to send off Punishment and the other one to actually summon. You could make an argument for 3, I just don't have a third one right now. 2 El Shaddoll Winda, I think 2 is all you need. Also, you can swap around like these ratios however you want. I just chose this one specifically because I think a lot of Shaddoll players really, really like their construct. But yeah, you can definitely just swap like 3, 2, 2, or whatever ratio you guys like. Like these are pretty standard, self-explanatory. Your core Shaddoll monsters, they're all very, very powerful. For the other fusions, 1 Mud Dragon and 1 Starving Venom. So Starving Venom is for cards like Enforcer, and so when they end on Anaconda Enforcer, it just instantly sucks it up, and you can do it in draw phase with player priority to activate your super polymerization, so they can't respond to it and they don't have a chance to use their Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. In addition, Mud Dragon in the Swamp was the card I mentioned during Super Poly. This makes your Super Poly live in more matchups, and you want that to be the case just because you always want to be able to actually fuse with your Shaddolls. you actually want it to be like a disruption on your opponent's turn, you can set a Shaddoll and then fuse with one of their monsters to make this. And its effect is alright. You can change into a light when you want to fuse with it later on, but this is just there for a super poly target. And then finally, I apologize for the proxy again, but I actually don't have a copy of Elder Entity Entis. This is just there for the punishment. It also punishes those Invoke Dogmatica players who resolve Maximus against you, because you can send Entis and send Aquilon and you get a lot of value yourself. That's it for the fusions. For the links, one gravity controller. This is standard. I should be playing another link one. I just don't have. You can be playing Artemis, the Magistus link one, just to give you a light when you normal summon any random Shaddoll. But I figured it wasn't like super necessary in this deck. Although I definitely would say if you have access to it, definitely play it. Just because it can turn on your Schism in like weird scenarios, and it gives you a light, very accessible light. But since we don't play that, we play cards like Cross Sheep. Cross Sheep, very good in Fusion deck, not much to say there. Shaddoll Construct, you can actually make this more often than you think, because you are playing a slower control style of deck. This is a very powerful card. You can like you can go like Wendy, set a Wendy during your turn. If it survives, you flip it, summon something else, and that just becomes a fusion spell. One Proxy F Magician. This should be Predaplant Vertex Anaconda, but like I said, I don't have it. So if you're a budget player, go with this instead. Or honestly, you don't even have to play this, because 9 times out of 10, I feel like you just be rather making Construct if you're actually linking into something fused. I think Construct is just so much better. But regardless, this should be Predaplant Vertex Anaconda if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, you can play Proxy F Magician, or just play an extra copy of one of the Winda or Aquilon. And then finally, one Borosword Dragon. You don't really even like need this. I just wanted a link 4 in the extra deck, just because you have something like Cross Sheep, the potential to extend into multiple monsters, and then link climb. Borosword Dragon is very powerful card. So yeah, that's gonna do it for the deck profile, guys. Let me know what you thought in the description below. If you liked it, didn't like it, what do you think about this deck, this format? I personally think it has a pretty decent matchup into those like trap decks like Eldritch people are gonna be playing. You have a very good grind game. You can grind out with them, and of course your traps help you against all the combo decks. So if you guys like this type of video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I will be coming out with a combo tutorial / test hand video for this deck in a few days, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys soon. Take care.